analysis is something that every option trader worth his salt undertakes before taking up positions in the options market. In fact, I can say it with utmost confidence that 99% of the option traders undertake the study of option chain data before taking a position. Now, what exactly is option chain data and how is it to be studied? What are the data that it contains, where to find it, etc. are some of the things which I'll be going to explain through this series of short videos. Now, the idea of making short videos rather than packing everything into one long video is to prevent you from getting overwhelmed with the amount of information and knowledge, and also to give you an opportunity to absorb what I am saying, go back to your trading platform to do some homework or undertake some mock trading or some paper trading to see how it happens in real life. Now, before we begin, I would request you to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss out on any content that I would upload. So without any further delay, let's begin. Now, before we begin and get into the nitty-gritties of understanding what an option chain is, I would presume that people who are watching these videos have a basic understanding of options. I mean, I presume that they would know what is a put, what is a call, what do we mean when we say that the option is in the money, at the money, out of the money, or the bullishness or the bearishness of the position. Like a long call is bullish by nature, a short call is bearish by nature, a long put is bearish by nature, and a short put is bullish by nature. I presume that these basic understanding are in place, because what I'm going to explain, that is how to interpret the option chain, is a slightly advanced concept which is undertaken before you take a position in options. So obviously the underlying assumption is that you know what options are about. So therefore I'm not going to get into the basics of this. Now the first question that would come to your mind is, where exactly can we find this option chain data? Well, for that we will have to go to the website of the National Stock Exchange of India, that is NSE, and there I'll show you where can you find this option chain data, right? So let's first get on to the NSE site. Let's first log into the website of the National Stock Exchange, that is www.nseindia.com. Now once you go into the site, you will see a search bar within the site where you can type in option chain and hit the search, and in the search result you'll find that you're having government security option chain, currency option chain, equity option chain. Well, in our case we are more interested in the equity option chain, so we click on equity option chain, and by default it will open the option chain for Nifty. Right now, if you look at the screen, you'll find that it says view Nifty option contracts for Nifty, and if I click down, you'll find it shows for Nifty IT and Bank Nifty. Or alternatively, you can select a script for which you would want to see the option chain. But in our example, I'm going to focus on Nifty. Now you'll notice that the underlying Nifty as of today, that is as on the date of recording of this video, is 11,930.35. This is on 23rd October 2020. Okay. Now let's have a look at this table. Right at the center of the table, that is this column, you'll find that there are various strike prices for which data is given. Okay? And another thing you will notice is, if you look at the table here, you'll find that one part of the table is shaded while the other part is white. And similarly here you will find that this is white whereas this is shaded. Now, what exactly does this indicate? Understand, Nifty today is 11,930, which we just saw. Now for any call with a strike price of less than 11,930, remember the call is going to be in the money. So if I take for example 11,850, that is the strike price out here. Now remember, if the Nifty currently is trading at 11,930, then this 11,850 call is definitely going to be in the money. So this portion indicates, now if you notice here, it says that this is the data for call and this is the data for puts, right? So on the left hand side of the screen you will have data for calls, and on the right hand side of the screen you will have data for, just go back here, yeah, 11,800 call will be in the money. So this indicates that 11,800 call is in the money. See this falls in the gray area, right? But if at the same time I told you a call with a strike price of 12,000, right, on the Nifty, when Nifty currently is 11,930, is definitely out of the money. So if you see a call with a strike price of 2,000, and remember left hand side of the screen indicates the call, so that is out of the money. So you see this is in this white portion, which means we can say that the shaded portion indicates that the call is in the money, and the white portion on the left hand side indicates that the calls are out of money. Similarly, on the right hand side of the screen, when it comes to put, the white or the non-shaded portion indicates that the put is out of the money. Now let me just explain this. Nifty currently is 11,930, then 11,600 call is in the money, but then 11,600 put will be out of the money. So you see this 11,600, this side is put, so this is out of the money, right? And if you look down here, the shaded portion indicates that these puts are in the money. For example, a put, that is a right to sell at 12,150, when the Nifty is currently 11,930, is definitely in the money. So 12,150 put is in the money. So that falls under the shaded region. So you've got to realize that in this screen, the shaded portion indicates that this option is in the money, and whatever is in the white part of the screen, it indicates that the option is out of the money. Now let's look at the column headings. We start from the left hand side, that is the calls. The first column heading which you see is something called OI, which is called as the open interest. And the second column is change in OI. The third column is volume. The fourth column is IV, which is implied volatility. I'll come to this in a moment. Then you have the last traded price of the option, that is the last price at which the option premium was traded. Then the change in price, that is, has it increased or has it decreased during the day? Bid quantity, bid price, and ask quantity. And then right in the middle you have the strike price, and then we move on to the right side of the screen where you have the bid quantity, bid price, ask quantity, the change in price, the last traded price, IV, which is the implied volatility, volume, change in open interest, and open interest in the puts. Right. Now, before we get into the main core topic of today's video, that is the part 1, let me tell you something, that implied volatility has got a huge significance when it comes to trading in options. So implied volatility will be a subject matter of a separate video in this series, where I'll be discussing what exactly implied volatility means and how it is to be interpreted. So that's a separate subject of discussion. In today's video, what is it that we are going to discuss? In today's video, we are going to discuss these 3 things. That is open interest, change in open interest, and volume. How the open interest is calculated, how the change in open interest is calculated, and how the volume is calculated, how it is to be interpreted, and how is it to be used in trading will be the part 2 of the series, right? So keep watching this channel for videos on this series. Now, if we look at the Nifty expiry date, if I click on the expiry date, you'll find that there are various expiry dates. But you'll notice something, that these expiry dates are a week apart. The 29th October, then you have 5th November, then you have 12th November, 19th November, 26th November, 3rd December. So they are a week apart. Now this tells us something very important. This tells us that as far as Nifty and Bank Nifty goes, they have an expiry every Thursday of the week. So there is an option which is expiring every Thursday of the week. Whereas when it comes to stock options, we'll find that these have expiries only on the last Thursday of the month. I'll show you. Let us say I select a symbol, and let's say we select Bajaj Finserv and we hit go, and now the underline is Bajaj Finserv. And now if I select on the expiry date, you see this, there are only two of them, 29th October and 26th November. So as far as stock options are concerned, they expire on the last Thursday of the month. But as far as Bank Nifty goes and the Nifty goes, they have an expiry on every Thursday of the week, right? This is something that you need to keep in mind when you are trading, because bulk of the trading tends to happen in the options which are nearer to expiry. And this I'm talking specifically of options on Nifty or Bank Nifty. Now, like I've mentioned, in this video, we are going to discuss only about three things, that is open interest, change in open interest, and volume. Now, what exactly do we mean by open interest? See, it refers to those positions which have still not been closed out. Let me give you an example. Let us say I buy a call. Now, since I purchased a call, it implies that someone has sold me a call, right? Now, this amounts to having one position in the market. There is one position which is still open, right? Because I have purchased and he has sold, and neither of us have closed out a position. This indicates that there is one open position. Understand, when you say one open position, it is a combination of a buy and a sell. A buy and a sell make one position. Okay. Now, to explain this further, let us take a series of transactions and see how the calculations are done. Now, if you look at this table, I've considered that there are 4 investors or 4 traders, and I've considered 4 trading days, that is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And for the sake of simplicity, we'll presume that we are only discussing about calls here. We are not bringing any puts into picture. The calculation which is being done for call, exactly the same calculations will take place for the put. So let us not confuse the issues by bringing in call and put together. Let's focus only on one thing. So in this example, I'm focusing only on calls. So whenever I'm saying someone has purchased and someone has sold, remember I'm only discussing about a call. Now let us say on Monday, A takes a long position in 7 lots of call. Again, I want to emphasize something. Here I'm only discussing about lots. Okay. So A has taken a long position in 7 lots of call, and B has taken a position of, let us say, 5 long calls. And let's say both these calls have been sold by C, which means C has got a short position in call of 12. Right? Now, at the end of the day, what do you think will be the volume of the day? The volume of the day will be 12, because 12 calls have been traded, right? So that is the volume. And now let's look at the open interest. See, as far as A is concerned, he's still got his long position in call outstanding at the end of the day. So the outstanding position is still 7. B still has got his position in call open. So 5. And remember, these are long positions. And C has got his call position open, which is 12 short. Now remember, I told you, combination of a buy and a sell makes one position. That means in this case, the open interest will be 12. The volume will be 12 and the open interest is also 12. Now that is because this is day 1. Now let us see what happens on day 2. On day 2, let us presume that A, who had taken 7 long positions in call, squares out or he sells 5 calls, right? And B, who had taken long position of 5 calls on Monday, he sells out 1 call. And C, who had a short position on Monday, he squares off. That means he buys 6 calls, right? Now in this case, the total volume will be 6 because 6 calls have been traded, right? And now let us see the open interest. Now we got to see the open positions which are outstanding. See, A had a long position of 7 calls on Monday, but he squared off. That is, he sold 5 calls on Tuesday. That means he still got a long position of 2 calls outstanding. This is open interest. Then B had 5 long calls on Monday, but he sold 1 call on Tuesday. That means he still has got 4 long calls outstanding. And C, who had 12 short calls on Monday, squared off his position by buying 6 calls on Tuesday. That means he still got 6 short. That means the total open interest, don't count both of these. Remember, you either calculate the long or the short because a combination of a buy and a sell makes an open position. So in this case, the open interest is 6. The total volume traded is 6 and the open interest is also 6. Now, Wednesday. Let's say on Wednesday, A, who still got 2 long positions outstanding, squares off, that is sells 1 call. B, who's got 4 long outstanding, squares off his entire position, right? So he sells 5. And C, who's got 6 short position, squares off, but he doesn't square off his position fully. He purchases 2 calls, right? Now understand, A and B together have sold 5 calls. C has purchased only 2 calls. That means there is some other guy who would have purchased the balance. Let us say that person is D. He has purchased 3 calls. Okay. Now let us look at the outstanding position. Okay, before we get into outstanding position, what is the total volume of trade? The total volume of trade is 5 calls. Remember, 5 calls have been traded. Now let's look at the outstanding. A had 2 long outstanding, out of which he sold 1, so he still got 1 long position outstanding. B, who had 4 long outstanding, he sold his entire 4 calls, so he's got nothing outstanding. C had 6 short outstanding, out of which he purchased 2, so that means he still got 4 short. And D, who's taken a fresh position by buying on Wednesday, so he's got 3 long. So what is the open interest on Wednesday? Remember, you either take the total of the longs or you take the total of the shorts. So that means the open interest on Wednesday is 4. Now you see this here. Here the volume traded is 5, but the open interest in this option has actually decreased from 6 to 4. Now understand what I'm trying to say. On Monday, the total open interest was 12. Then on Tuesday, open interest was 6. That means there has been a decrease in the open interest. Now this is what we call as a change in open interest. Now if there is a decrease in open interest, then the change in open interest in the Nifty chain would be shown as a negative figure. So the moment you say that change in open interest is a negative figure, you know that the open interest in that particular option actually reduced. Now here on Wednesday, the open interest has further reduced from 6 to 4. So the change in open interest would be 2, and the open interest on Wednesday would be 4. Again, please pay attention to what I'm saying. At the close of Wednesday, the open interest column would show 4 because there are still 4 contracts which are still open. So open interest will be 4. But as far as the change in open interest goes, it will show -2, because on Tuesday the total open interest was 6, but on Wednesday the total open interest is 4. That means there has been a change in the open interest by -2. Okay. Now let us look at Thursday. Thursday, A, who still got one long position outstanding, he squares off his entire position by going one short. B had nothing outstanding, so he does nothing. C had 4 short call outstanding, so he squares off his entire position by buying 4 calls. And D, who had 3 long outstanding, squares off his position by shorting 3 calls. What is the volume? The volume on Thursday is 4. But what is the open interest? Now you see this, there was 1 long, there is 1 short, so there's no open interest. Here anyway there was no open interest. There was 4 short, and then there is 4 long, so the open interest is 0. 3 long, 3 short, open interest is 0. That means on Thursday the open interest, but on Thursday what is the volume? 4. And on Thursday, what is the change in open interest? The change in open interest will be -4. See, if you compare these two, this is the change in open interest. So the change in open interest will be -6 here, be -2 here, and it will be -4 here, right? Now this is how open interest is calculated and change in open interest is calculated. Now let us take one more example. Now I've filled in the data, so this will save us some time. Let us say on Monday, A takes a long position of 5 calls and B takes a long position of 7 calls. And both these calls have been sold by C, which means C has a short position of 12 calls, which means the volume on Monday is 12 and the open interest. See, at the end of the day, A has not squared off his position, so he's got an open interest of 5 long calls. B has not squared off his position, so he's got an open position of 7 long calls. And C has not squared off his position and he's got an open position of 12 short calls. Which means the open interest, like I said, remember, either take the total of the longs or take the total of the short. So the open interest is 12. Now on Tuesday, A sells 2 calls, which means A will now have an open position of 3 long calls. Remember, he had 5 long calls here, out of which he sold 2 calls. That means he's still got a position of 3 long calls. B had 7 long calls on Monday. He further purchased 2 more calls, which means now his open outstanding position is, the volume on Tuesday is 2 and the open interest on Tuesday is 12. That means even though there is a volume of 2 contracts on Tuesday, as far as change in open interest goes, there is no change in open interest. And that is logical because one person has sold 2 calls and the other person has purchased 2 calls. So that means as far as open interest goes, there are no fresh investors who have come in. Now let's look at on Wednesday. On Wednesday, A sells 3 calls. Now remember, A had an outstanding position of 3 long. Now he has sold 3 calls. That means his outstanding or open interest is 0. Then B sells 7 calls. Now remember, B had an open position of 9 long, out of which he sold 7. That means he's still got 2 long positions. Here there is another investor who's coming in, D. D has sold 2 calls. And all these calls which have been sold by A, B and D have been purchased by C. Let's look at the open position. As far as C is concerned, C had 12 short. Now he is gone long for 12, so his open position is 0. And D had no open position on Tuesday. He's created a fresh short position. That means his open interest is 2 short, which means the open position on Wednesday, the open interest on Wednesday is 2. Remember, you either take the long or you take the short. 2. So on Wednesday, you'll notice something else, that the volume is 12, but the open interest is only 2 because the rest others are all squaring off their transaction. If you look at Thursday, B who had a long position on Wednesday, squares off his position by selling the calls, and D, who had short position on Wednesday, squares off his position by buying 2 calls, which means the volume on Thursday is 2, but now there are no outstanding or open interest because A was anyway reduced to 0, B now has reduced to 0, C was anyways reduced to 0 on Wednesday, and D is now reduced to 0. So the open interest is 0 even though the volume is 2. Now if we were to calculate change in open interest, remember as far as Tuesday is concerned, there is no change in open interest because on Monday also the open interest was 12 and on Tuesday also the open interest is 12. So as far as open interest is concerned, there is no change. But Tuesday will show a volume of 2. On Wednesday, the open interest is 2, right? Whereas on Tuesday, the open interest was 12. That means change in open interest is minus 10. On the close of Wednesday, when you look at the option chain data, you will find that on Wednesday, the volume is 12, but the change in open interest is negative 10. And Thursday, the change in open interest is negative 2 because open interest was 2 on Wednesday and now it is reduced to 0. So change in open interest is negative 2 and the volume on Thursday will also be 2. Let us go back to the screen and once again just have a relook at these data, that is open interest, change in open interest and volume. Now let's look at the screen here. Now see here, let's take 10,700 call. You notice the open interest is 757, right? And the volume is 208, but the change in open interest is negative 40, right? Which means at the close of the day, the open interest was 757, but the change in open interest is negative, that which means earlier day, the open interest would have been 797 because this is decreased by 40, no? So the earlier day, the open interest would have been 797. So this is decreased, but the volume is 208. Similarly, if you take, let's say 10,800, you see here, open interest at the end of the day is 1705. Change in open interest is negative 16. That means there has been a decrease in the total open interest and the volume is 35. So this is how open interest and change in volumes are calculated. And one more thing I would like to point out is that all these data which are here are in terms of number of contracts. So in this video, which is the part 1 of the series of video which I intend to upload in relation to option chains, we have learned how is open interest calculated and how is change in open interest calculated and how is the volume calculated. In part 2 of the video, which I'll be uploading in the next week, I will be teaching you how to interpret the change in open interest and how you can use this to take position in options. Plus, we will also be learning about a few concepts like long build-up, short covering, short build-up, long covering, etc. So stay tuned to the channel and please do subscribe to it and hit the bell icon so that you get notified whenever I upload the video. That's all for today's session. Stay fit, stay healthy, and ciao.